I think especially as Aboriginal artists, our truth is what makes us who we are in our culture and our spirituality. And that truth resonates into the community.
Mob or Jarjum, that's tomorrow's children, because all we do is for them, really. And if they can get these words, get the pronunciation of it correct, they can then start using it in daily life, and they do.
It's relationships between mothers and fathers, between parents and children, between children and their grandparents. It's that deterioration of that family relationship and connection.
Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people can now stand with huge humility and be very proud of who we are and what we are, and the way in which we have survived.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary Road. I'm Mundanara Bales.
And I'm Fred Leone. Throughout the show, we've interviewed some of Brisbane's most inspiring role models who've been involved in health, education, social work and many other fields. These role models represent the amazing success stories of their generation.
But now is the time for us to move on to the next future generation of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander role models who'll carry on the legacies, culture and pride of their predecessors.
Our final guest for the season is a young Indigenous lady who is making a difference and was involved in the Queensland Indigenous Youth Leadership Program. She's here to talk a little bit about herself, so we'd like to welcome to the show Katina Leedy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. So can we start with telling us who your mob is and where you're from?
I'm from Cherbourg and I have ties with the Waka Waka people, but I have roots to Cairns and, Cowan and Kawanyama with the Lama Lama people, and Central Queensland with the Wangan-Jangan and Kungaloo mob.
Yeah, deadly. Hey, so what inspired you to be involved with the Queensland Indigenous Youth Leadership Program?
I've always kind of been involved with leadership programs and that kind of stream, and I guess like just encouragement from my community and the people that I've worked with.
Mm-hmm. Could you explain the process for young people to be involved?
Yeah, well, I originally got the application through my networks through email, and the application process was just, answering questions, and I guess like they had a selection of different people, and if we complied with what they wanted, then I guess that's how we were selected on the program.
So they're looking for certain people that maybe have qualities of being a leader, so to speak.
So what did you most like about the leadership program?
I liked that, that it kind of created awareness, and it kind of, with, the political system, and I guess it kind of gave me more of a knowledge of how it worked and what was involved in, making legislation, and the whole process through that, and also meeting like some politicians and other people that were, interested in the same thing.
Yeah, so share. What are the most challenging aspects of the program for yourself?
I think the most challenging aspect of the program was actually absorbing all of that information in the 1 week. So it was a pretty packed out kind of schedule, and it was really hard for us to, take in all that information and attain it. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find that your fellow peers, even though you're like geographically from different parts of the state, had similar stories or similar challenges to face within the community?
I think that's like the best thing about the leadership programs is, you can all relate with one another. You go to those programs and you meet people that have the same kind of dreams and goals and aspirations, and, you can all connect on that level. So it's always good to go and share each other's stories and, share each other's dreams and ambitions. And it's just a really inspiring process.
It definitely is. I know back in, I think 2005, I was in the same program with Tanya Major and Christy Lautit and about 20 other young, deadly Indigenous mob around Queensland, and to meet them and to be in that little circle.
Oh, definitely.
That definitely encourages you and inspires you to.
Yeah, it's a really empowering process.
It's deadly, isn't it? So what advice would you give to young, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander kids who are out there that want to do something with their lives and just haven't really found their pathway yet or found their calling?
Just grasp every single opportunity. Like, just try new things and don't be afraid to try new things. I guess like trying to find what you want to do is a journey, and I mean you never really know until you really know what you want to do, and like it takes a long time to discover that, but definitely take every opportunity and embrace it.
And with being, you know, a young Murray woman, did you have the support of your family? Like most of us have our family to support us with our decisions or with you know, jobs, with our education. Who have you had around to support you and guide you?
Yeah, definitely my family, certain members in my family, my grandmother. Everything that I do, I always like think about her. She's not with us today, but she's definitely somebody who continues to inspire me, and you know, I guess like just having her there in the back, you know,
gives you strength to keep going
definitely.
and doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's deadly.
Being a part of this program that you've now noticed going back into the communities, what's something that you think young Indigenous mob around the country or in your area in particular would take for granted that you can now notice because you've been through this whole leadership process?
I think definitely education. I think education is not as embraced in communities and stuff like as much as I think sports is. And I think that communities and Indigenous communities in particular really need to take that on board, and I think there needs to be more emphasis around it, and it needs to be supported just as much as, you know, any kind of other community initiative. Yeah.
Taking into consideration our education system isn't the best for our people to begin with, so they're not really engaged.
Definitely, yeah.
So
definitely.
I think strengthening.
Yeah, strengthening it. And they're taking small steps, you know, so there's like that embedding Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives. But that's one small step.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's and it helps. I think that might help too to identify young leaders out there. So people who are taking the charge within the education system themselves, having been a part of it.
And I don't think like in communities as well, like there are those individuals that, you know, want to do good things with their lives, and I just don't think that there's enough support around education, or those people aren't identified and acknowledged for the efforts that they've put into their education.
And what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to Indigenous youth?
Well, I mean, I think those like programs like the Queensland Indigenous Leadership Program take those people that want to do more and aspire to be something. They take, they focus more so on the positive rather than the negative.
Bring out people's strengths than their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Final question. What would you like to see happen in the next 15 to 20 years?
I definitely would love to see culture implemented within the Australian school curriculum. I think in the education system and our people, you know, upskilling themselves, I think that's a huge downfall. I think culture needs to be embraced in the wider community, and just so that it also creates like that understanding in mainstream society as well. And it's just so that, you know, our own people aren't afraid to embrace our culture as well.
Yeah, and I think maybe schools or educational institutions would be a better place for our people to want to go and to be a part of, to engage with if
and I
our
think
culture
it all
was
starts
there.
with the youth as well, you know, and I think that's a starting point anyway.
Yeah. And too with that.
For change anyway.
Yeah. And when you're talking about that cultural knowledge, making sure too, I think, having an emphasis on making sure it's relevant to each region. Like I know, working in education in the late 90s, there was a lot of information that was out that was specific to a region. So these young fellas are answering questions in exams, how they would address it in their community with a morning process or whatever.
I agree.
And then getting red ticks, you know, and they say, hey, well, that's
We're such a diverse mob, aren't we? Yeah. And on that note, I guess we should thank Katina for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks
today.
for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And sharing your experiences and also your passion with being involved with this deadly program.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
No worries
no
at all.
worries.
And that's it for Fred and I for this season. We've had a deadly time on Beyond the Boundary Road, and we're privileged to be a part of it.
And on behalf of the team, we'd like to all wish you well and thanks, and we'll see you around next time on Beyond the Boundary Road.